All right, Twitch, we have a poll going. Everything's at 33%. I got to show you this. This is crazy. I cannot believe this. Look at this. So here's the Twitch poll. Everything's at 33%. YouTube poll is, we have, it looks like the Signs of Life, the M15R4 is winning. So, so Twitch, you guys, we have to kind of, if you can separate it out a little bit, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So the first one is a laptop that the customer sent in. They had tried to install their own keyboard. They broke their, are we out of sync still? No sign. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I'm gonna keep focusing on just talking, and we'll just keep going. Anyway, so the first one, the customer tried to change out the keyboard. They actually broke the latch on the connector, so that connector needs to be replaced. It actually works, but it needs to be replaced. So that's gonna be a pain in the butt. I don't like working on doing that exact repair anyway. The second one is an Aspiron 7577 that one of my viewers sent in. And he said it doesn't work. It was his son's laptop. It's been sitting around. He was going to donate it somewhere or put it in recycling. He sent it in to me. I have no idea what's going on with it. So we can take a look at this and just see if we can fix it. And I'm going to give it away to somebody. The last one's an M15R4. It doesn't power on. It's just kind of dead. That could end up, that's the M15R4. It probably could be it could be an EC ship issue. It could be a power rail issue. It could be a short. It could be, I mean, who knows what's going on with it. So we're still 1 second out of sync. That's such an annoying thing. I don't like being out of sync. And I actually can't hear these alerts either, which is another whole thing that I'm here having an issue with. Hopefully that works. Audio's, it's fast. Let me see if these two cameras are synced, because sometimes these two cameras are out of sync, and they're in sync actually. Huh. I don't know. I don't know what would be causing that. You can't lip read. Out of sync is unfortunate. I mean, I could play around with the syncing if we want. It's just, I don't understand why it's doing this, because I haven't changed anything. Oh, wait a minute, this setting changed. Yeah, this used to be 350, I think. Let's try that. All right, so I just changed the syncing again. It should be 350. Maybe it's because I disabled it and re-enabled it. It put it back. So I think that's what it's supposed to be. Is that better? Let's see. You ready? Does that seem much better? I can't remember exactly what the number was, but 350 milliseconds was about right. I think whenever I was like resetting the audio, I turned off this microphone completely and then re-enabled it, and they got rid of my off sync. So, okay, cool. All right, so Twitch poll now is getting a little bit closer. We're at 47% on the M15R4, so that's good. And the YouTube poll is at 50% on the M15R4. So definitely closer. So I think that's probably what we're going to end up going with. And then the next one is going to be the donation laptop. So. Oh, I wish we did not have to go through all this stuff at the starting this morning, because that really messes up everything. So let's see, which is better to unplug, while it's plugged in, or unplug once the battery is charged? To always use the laptop while it's plugged in, or to unplug it once it's charged? So I kind of use the laptop like a cell phone. That's my general rule of thumb. So what I do is I plug it in, and then I unplug it, and then I use the laptop. And then whenever I'm not using it, I plug it in. But I don't want to leave it plugged in all the time. But it's kind of like you're plugging your cell phone at night, and then you unplug it and use it during the day. I found that actually is the best for making your laptop work for the longest. I mean, the battery lasts the longest. You just don't want to leave it above 100% for an extended period of time. Now, the more cycles you put on the battery, we got a new member, Brian. Thank you. The longer, or the more cycles, the shorter the battery life is going to be. So, all right. So our poll only has a couple of minutes left. I wanted to give you an update. So I don't know who chimed in for last Wednesday's stream. We were doing a 3 for 3 repair. So we had 3 on the list, and we actually got to all 3 of them. The first one we fixed in the first 30 minutes or so. The second one ended up being a bad CPU. The customer is going to get the motherboard replaced. I actually have some brand new boards that just came in from Dell, which is very rare because these boards are very, very hard to get. And so I got a truckload of stuff in. And so I'm giving him a good deal on one of those boards because of your donations. And so he's getting a new motherboard put in there. The last one was that M15R4, I think. And we changed out quite a few components, and we didn't know why it wasn't turning on at the end of the day, end of the night. I was completely, everything I changed out seemed like it would have fixed it. I had no idea. I was like, why is this not working? Why is this not working? I was losing sleep over it. I was waking up in the middle of the night. I was like, what could be causing this? I come into work the next day. I plug it in. It turns on and works. I didn't do anything. I reassembled the machine. Everything's working. Sent it off to the customer. So the only thing I could think of is, I put this that protective aluminum tape on there and Kapton tape. I'm thinking that that aluminum tape might have been touching something when we were testing because I kept trying to cover up things. Finally caught a live stream. All right, Eric, thanks for joining in. I'm glad you can make it. So I'm thinking that's the only thing that could have caused it. I wish I kept taking that tape off to protect the area because I didn't want to melt that connector. But then it was it kept melting more and more. So I was like, I didn't want to sit there and keep doing that. So I left it on, and it made it where it didn't work for us. So that's what I'm thinking. So our poll won. So the 15R4 is what won on both, and then the second place is going to be that Inspiron. So that was donated to us, which is a gaming machine. This is the Inspiron Gaming Edition. This is before the G series came out. So that may be an interesting one to get a look at. So the other thing I wanted to do before we start this repair, did anyone catch that Northwest Repair GPU repair channel where he said he turned his microscope into a $5,000 microscope? Anyone catch that? My shirt, you like my shirt? Yes, it's Spread Shop, and so they ship worldwide. So yeah, you can order anywhere in the world. So he basically took his microscope and let me see if I have my thing. Where's it at? What did I do with it? Well, he made it into a polarizer. So he just has this regular light here, and he put a polarizing film on it, and right here. And so that's what I'm thinking I want to try to do. We can do it live right now. I actually have some LCD screens that we can just rip apart and steal the film inside of it, because those have polarizers inside of them. And that's what I'm thinking that would work. Yeah, and then he did the other Northridge mockery, which I thought was pretty funny. I'm waiting for him to do me. Yeah, that would be kind of fun, right? If he does me. Oh my gosh. I just noticed again, if I'm looking on the screen, the Twitch number is not updating on the screen. It still says 0 Twitch users, and I'm going to look at this real quick because it's kind of annoying to me. Let me see if I can figure out why that counter is not updating. I don't really know why. And I'm using StreamerBot to actually get this information, so I'm not really sure why it's not triggering every single time. But let's see. Test trigger. Yeah, I mean, it's sending the information over there, so I don't know why it's not pulling it. Maybe because it's not connected to Twitch. No, we're connected to Twitch. I don't know. I'm not that worried about it. We have our Twitch users in our chat. We have all that stuff. So that's all we need. I'm going to grab an LCD screen. Let's rip it apart real quick. Let's cut it up. Let's see if we can make a $5,000 microscope out of this. Here's a good looking LCD screen. Nice and good looking. There's polarizer layers inside of here, so I figure we can just rip one of these apart and get a polarizer out of it. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not the right type of polarizer we need, but I don't know. So I'm just going to grab it. Here, we'll go to the overhead here. I'm just going to grab it, and we're just going to rip it apart. I don't want to cut myself, so I need to be careful. What about the unfinished stream? Yeah, I just talked about that. So when I came in the next day, the motherboard just turned on. I didn't know, because I was confused on why it wasn't working, but When I came in, I just plugged in the motherboard and immediately powered on. I was like, what? Put the thing together, everything works perfect. Not a single issue. Passed all diagnostics, boosted Windows, everything. The laptop's already been shipped off. So definitely a strange issue. I was thinking it might have been because of my capped on tape or aluminum covering. I'm trying to get a knife here. So right now we're going to try to make that polarizer. I'm just going to cut this open as best I can without breaking glass everywhere. So do you not think this is going to work? I don't know if it's going to work. I just don't have any polarizing film, but I was thinking that this could work. Here we go. Oh, I don't want to cut my fingers, please. This screen is probably already cracked anyway. It was in my bad bin. Okay, we got it open. So here's the LCD. You can kind of see, well, can't really see through it. But back here, behind here, should be a bunch of film. Wait a minute. This doesn't have all the film. Is that what you were saying? Because usually there's piles of polarizing film back here. There's all sorts of, there we go. Yeah, there we go. We got it all. So back behind this, the LCD itself, there's going to be all these different sheets of film. See, look at all these things. Reflector things, whatever. So we need to find the one that is, they may not be clear enough. Yeah, this is like a almost like a magnifying glass. So I don't know. Maybe this is a polarizing film. I have no idea. That's too opaque. We're not going to be able to see through any of this stuff. All right. I think we just need to abort this idea. I was thinking we were going to find something that would be clear enough, but polarized enough. Let's see. I can't see through that at all. Here, let me put a circuit board here. This is stupid. What a stupid idea, Nathan. Whenever I saw his videos, I was like, oh, I think I have polarizing film around. We can just pull apart a screen. And now I'm like, what an idiot. Okay, so that doesn't work. Can't see through that one. Can't see through that one. Ooh, this one's the psychedelic one. This is like when you go into a trance. All right, so we're going to put our microscope in trance mode. Okay, well, I think I'm going to pick up some of his film then that I don't know what he ordered. Okay, all right. Well, that was worth a try. That was our little side deviation. Okay. Out with that trash. Okay. This Twitch number not updating is really annoying me. Is it annoying anybody else? Maybe I need to move this up in the list here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because it was last week or it's been working on all the rest of the nights. So let's see, Twitch. And we want statistics. Channel. Add view count. I don't know. Okay, let me grab that laptop. So we set the title correctly, M15R4. I've worked on so many of these. Ooh, this one has some pretty stickers on it. I like it. We got Ghostbusters and I don't know what that is. A planet, maybe? Maybe old glasses. Oh, I have 3D glasses at my house. Yeah. Some 3D glasses. I have some that are the 2D glasses that are supposed to convert to 3D or to deconvert 3D. Put polarizing film on the LEDs. Yeah, so you put it on the LEDs and then you put some on the lens too, but they're separate so then that way you can change them to 90 degrees to each other. Okay, so Let me make sure we don't have any personal information. Oh, I see some stuff right here. Let me heat this up. It's a sticker with somebody's phone number on it. Hello from the Philippines. Yeah, I'm sure the $5 polarizing film I can just order. Okay. I might just take this Twitch number off of here because I don't understand why it's not showing up here. This is pretty annoying. Okay. Sorry about that. It was just annoying me that it was showing a 0 count there. Okay, so, all right, new day, new laptop to repair. This time we have an M15R4. This one was sent in to me because the laptop no longer turns on. It has no signs of life, so I haven't taken a look at this yet. Let's take a look together and see if we can get this figured out. 3D glasses with circuitry polarizing. Yeah, I don't know exactly how those 3D glasses work, but also not showing Twitch comments. Oh, you're right. Oh, no, it is. I see one on here. Because what you just wrote is showing up on there. But I'm wondering if it has something to do with... Let me pull up... I know, I keep deviating, and I'm really sorry, guys. It's saying Twitch is connected here. That streamer bot. It's annoying. Oh, I know what it is. I bet the bots, one of these bots aren't connected right. No? Oh, yeah, log in. Yeah, my Twitch bot's not connected right. Okay. Let's see if that worked. Okay. I don't know if that's better or not, but we will see. Maybe a Twitch issue? It could be. I mean, we have 37 people on Twitch, so it would be nice if it said it there, but it doesn't really matter. All right, so first thing I want to do is see if this turns on. I'm going to press the power button. I'm not getting any power. So we're going to take a look at our power meter. We want to see how much current it draws whenever we plug it in. This will kind of tell us if we have a short on the board or if we have a little bit of a issue with our power management chip. Let's see. You got stream lag on Twitch. I actually upped Twitch's. I was doing 720p at 3 megabits, and then I just went to 1080p at 5 megabits today. So if you don't like it, I can go back down to 720. Hershey just gifted a sub. Thank you so much. That was really nice of you. So I plugged in the power meter. We got it up to 0.01. I want to do it one more time. I just want to see where it goes to. Plug it in one more time. It just goes to 0.01. It should be at 0.02. That's kind of a low reading. But, oh, you meant chat lag. Interesting. I wonder if this whole thing needs to be rebooted again. All right, so I'm going to press the power button and see what happens. And we got nothing happening. All right, so we're going to have to open up and take a look inside. I haven't got my new internet connection yet. They wired the building, but I haven't signed up for it yet. So I need to do that still. But I'm working on it. I need to work on it a little faster, especially if I'm doing 2 streams a week. Every 3 days, basically. Yeah, that was awesome that you donate memberships. So Spock has a membership now. All right. So let me just get this bottom off. So we've seen inside of these things a lot. Oh, what? Something sticky. Oh, it's just a sticky tape here. So, and the bottom is off. All right. Take a quick look around. So we have the main battery. This is a Dell OEM. It doesn't say Dell here, but that's how they do it on this battery. But I know the fonts, I know the layout, and that is a real serial number, I can tell. I can see that somebody's been in here. This sticker that's on this battery actually is supposed to go right here on the board, and there's also supposed to be another protective cover that goes across here. That's a plastic cover, so that is missing. No harm, no foul. Probably just went to another repair shop first. I'm going to pull out his SSD to get this out of the way. Do I fix any other brands? I only specialize in Dell and Alienware laptops. I've been doing this for about 25 years, and so no. The answer is no. Let me measure what voltage we're getting on the battery connector. A lot of times we will get 0, or we will get battery voltage. If we get 0, it might mean there's a short on the board. So here's our battery connector. It's plugged in. And is my meter working up there? It's at 29 millivolts. That's not correct either. I'm telling you, I'm just full of issues today. There we go. Just need to plug it in better. Okay, try it again. So I got 0.1 volts. So that almost looks like a dead battery. Usually if the battery's shut off, it'll be 0. But we could have some capacitors charged. I'm just going to unplug this. We'll just take this out of the picture altogether. Let's plug in the charger. Let's just see how far the voltage goes on here. This may end up being an EC chip, guys. Is the battery a little bulged? Let me see. Nah, it's fine. There's some tape on here. It maybe kind of looks like it's bulged from that, but that's fine. Hello from Spain. Okay. All right, so here's where the DC jack plugs into the motherboard. So I'm going to plug in the charger, and then we will see. All right, this should be the 20 volts on this side. So we do have 20 volts to the jack itself. And over here we're getting our ground. And what we want to look for is we want to see if we're getting 20 volts to this area. A lot of times what ends up happening is that we don't get 20 volts to this area, and I'm not. I'm measuring here the main power rail. This is actually the battery charge current sense resistor. There's the power management chip. It does look okay. It does have some letters missing on it, but it doesn't look burned or anything. This is what's responsible for turning on and off all these MOSFETs that handle the charging of the battery and creating the main power rail. All right, so what we always like to check on this particular model, because this one is notorious for having a corrupted EC chip. Here's our EC chip right here. So this has a piece of firmware on it that is programmed once. There's no way to do a CMOS reset on this because the firmware is already written on here. And what ends up happening is this machine, the power button doesn't work, and the machine won't power on if this firmware gets corrupted, and it gets corrupted very easily apparently. So, so the way to check that, if you have this model, is you're going to on this power rail over here, I'm just going to measure, and we don't have voltage. I'm going to unplug the charger, and then I'm going to plug it back in. If we get 20 volts momentarily and then it shuts off, then we know that we have an EC chip issue, and it's not doing anything when I plug it in. So that's good, I guess, because then we're not doing an EC chip programming. Let's just check this LDO if we're getting our LDO. So do we have 20 volts here? We do, and then we're getting 3.3 here, and we are. So we're getting our 3.3 on our LDO, which means that we probably will have 3.3 on the power button, which we do. And here's our power button itself on the motherboard. I'm going to press that and see if it does pull any current. Pulls 0.03 now. That's interesting. Huh. So we didn't see that when we pressed the main power button, but when I pressed this one, we got 0.03. Interesting. You're talking about the feng shui diode? This is our feng shui. Every one of these boards have a little bit of feng shui. So I did notice that too. I think the last one we worked on in the last stream had this exact diode feng shui, right? Or somewhere around here. So I don't know. I don't know what the point is. Why, if it's just like the way that the air pressure blows it or something, or whenever they're heating it. and melting that. It looks fine to me. I'm not worried about it, but check 20 volts. So we have 20 volts here on the jack. All the rest of the 20 volt circuitry is on the other side of the board, so I can't check that per se, but we do have our LDO 3.3 going over there. We'll have to pull the board out to really examine, but what I really wanted to check to see is if that EC chip seemed like it was not programmed, and that's not working. If I unplug the charger, plug it in, we should get 20 volts momentarily, and we're not. So no liquid metal on this machine. So this is a 2020 model, and they didn't start doing that until the X series, which was 21 or 22, I think. So I'm going to pull this motherboard out, so this would be a good time for you guys to ask some questions, and I'll try to read the chat as best I can. If only I had a $5,000 microscope. Yeah, this microscope is about $1,500, but yeah, the polarizing aspect would be the game changer. I do have a polarizing light that I bought, but it's not bright enough. I hate how dim it is. It's almost like I'm looking through sunglasses. So if I could make my own polarizer, I would much rather that, because my light on this is really bright. I actually only keep it at like half brightness because it's so bright. Yeah, we're gonna do physical inspection, but I want to pull the board out to do physical inspection. The thing about this board is that most of the electronics is on the other side. And actually, here's our board-to-board connector. This could be damaged and cause this exact issue, so let's look at that real quick. Why aren't they using solder paste? Why are you not using solder paste? I mean, I have solder paste. I find that solder paste, at least the stuff that I have, runs too much, so maybe I need to dry it off better whenever I'm soldering on stuff, because really I'm just kind of adding solder or just switching out solder that's already there. So, I mean, I use it for different things, like if I'm reballing a chip, I'll resolder, use solder paste. Sometimes if I'm putting a new connector on, I'll use solder paste, so. All right, so here's our board-to-board connector. It connects the daughter board to the main board. This motherboard goes into a 17-inch machine and goes into a 15-inch machine, and so they have it set up where you can put different daughter boards on here. But this connector does get damaged, so let's take a look. And you can see that the screws have been unscrewed in the past because you can see the marring on there. So we know that somebody's taken this off. All right, so let's take a look at it. You see the little pads there. And so this is notorious for getting bent pins. And these things, they're really proud of these. And look at those pins. Look at the mangle. I see some mangled pins. Do you guys see them? There's one, two, let's see, right there. I don't know. It's hard to see it in the camera. I definitely see at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 that are bent over. And then the whole end's messed up right here. And then this side looks okay. So what we're going to do is I'm not even going to have it on there. We don't need it plugged in for it to work. So now let's test it with it unplugged. So we're going to go back over here and plug it in again. And I want to see if we get anything different. So I have the power plugged in. And let's measure over here, see if we get our main power rail. Still don't have our well, actually it's a battery power rail, but we should be getting voltage over here though. We have 20 volts there, nothing there. Let me, let's try powering on again. 0.03. Let me open the lid when we're doing this because it does have a Hall effect sensor that could prevent it from turning on. Still 0.03 is weird. So I'm going to pull the board out all the way now. We're just going to keep going, but we definitely had some bent pins. So what ends up happening when you have bent pins like that, it does, I've had it short out the EC chip. So we may need to put a brand new EC chip on there. Brand new. This is a 12th gen. Let's see, R4. I think this might be an 11th gen CPU. Probably a 30 series. RTX 30 series of some sort, 3070, 3080. I can give you the part number of the board if you want to look it up. Motherboard part number is right here. It is a 5HR6M. 5HR6M, I believe, is a 3070 with an i7 11th gen, I believe. Have you ever looked into getting different light source? Amscope sells a microscope that has fiber optic LEDs. Interesting. I didn't know. I've always used these LED ring lights. This is my third or fourth one. I found if you leave them on, then the LEDs burn out really quickly. So I have this one on a motion sensor that's right behind me, and it also turns on and off my camera. So it only stays on for 2 minutes as long as I'm moving. You can't wait for the Mandalorian movie. Interesting. Yeah, I have actually never watched any of those Mandalorians. I'm just a weird guy that doesn't... I never got into Star Wars. Never did it. I mean, I watched it as a kid. Tried to watch it as an adult, and I just can't. I don't know. I don't have time for movies. I don't have time for all that stuff. The greatest technician that's ever lived. Oh. All right. Well, don't spam too much, buddy. I'm a techie a little bit. Yeah, I like Next Generation. Is like my go-to show if I'm going to watch like a Star Trek. And then I've watched the movies. But I've never watched, I just never tried watching The Mandalorian or any of those. So, and I've only seen probably 4 or 5 of the actual Star Wars movies in general. I've kind of skipped all the newer ones. I know Rogue One's supposed to be good, and I've never seen that. I always keep going, okay, I need to go watch Rogue One because I hear that that's really good, but never watched it. So I need to, especially whenever I sit down and I say, oh, shoot, that thing's like 2.5 hours long. Like, I don't want to sit and watch a 2.5 hour long movie. So I end up watching movies over over like a 3-day period in 40-minute spurts, like a 40-minute TV show. Yeah, right now I have Paramount Plus, and they have all the Star Treks on there, so I've been watching, I started watching Picard. I really couldn't get into it. I watched a first few episodes. It was kind of slow, or had some filler stuff in there. Yeah, Rogue One is supposed to be the best. That's what everyone says. Hey, this isn't even connected, buddies. Oh my gosh. Weird. All right, let me explain what I'm saying. Well, let me point it out overhead first. So this is a daughter board again on this side. On this side, this daughter board is connected to the motherboard, but it's connected through another board-to-board connector, but it's screwed in from the underside. And so it's supposed to be attached. So when I lift this out, this should come out. Look at this. Wait, let me do it again. Look, it's not even attached. So that's probably why the power button's not working, because the power button actually hooks to this board. So I don't know. Someone's been in here. We'll put it back together correctly if we can fix it, but we could have some damaged connectors in there. Okay, here we go. So that board-to-board connector is supposed to be attached still, and it's completely not attached. Now, it's not required for the board to come on. Again, it is just a daughter board. It has the power button on there, so the power button won't work, but we will be able to try it without it. When you watch me live, it buffers too much. That's strange. Just go down to a lower res. Just choose like 720p or something. I don't know. I'm only doing like 7 megabits at 1080p on YouTube, and I'm doing 5 megabits on Twitch. All right, so I want to look at this connector and make sure it's not too messed up. Picard's last 4 episodes were awesome. Okay, well, maybe, because I think I only watched like the first 3 episodes or 4 episodes, and it was like taking me a while to like, I was like, come on, dude, just get going. Get going here. Oh, someone's been here. Oh, that's a good one. I like that t-shirt idea. I'm going to mark that down. New t-shirt idea. Oh, looks like someone's been here. Oh, that's funny. All right, so here's this board-to-board connector. This one's a little bit different. Again, these things are notoriously expensive, hard to get. I think I have some, but it looks okay, actually. There's a little bit of like thermal compound or something in those pins right there. to zoom in a lot to see it. There we go. You can see there's like thermal compound in there. And I don't necessarily want to dig around in there. I don't want to start getting my toothbrush down in there because it will end up grabbing a pen and bending it, and then we're ruined. So I might blow some air on it or something. But it looks okay. So we're good with that. Now that we have the board out of the machine, they're not supposed to, but I know, why is the thermal compound there? Well, why is it not even attached? That's the question. So I'm going to put it off to the side. Well, let's look at the connector itself. Sometimes thermal compound just kind of gets places, you know, like it flakes off. So let's pull the heatsink off. We can actually do our physical inspection. You love Baby Yoda? Yes, Baby Yoda. Lower decks, lower decks. We need more power. The Wesley Crushers. Watched any Indian movie? No, I have not. Candidate for the ultrasonic cleaner. That's an interesting idea. I don't know. It's not dirty enough to do that. I think if I could just kind of blow some air on it. Sometimes I hate putting stuff in the ultrasonic cleaner if I don't have to. Oh no, liquid metal. Yeah, that could be a good one too. Oh no, liquid metal. All right, so the big reveal. So the compound is new. We have some thermal pads that seem a little wrong right here. We're like missing a section of thermal pads there. You can see this goes all the way over this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it goes across. So if these are the 4 that go across here, we should actually have, well, no, those are the higher ones. Let's see. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, we may be missing a pad right there we need to change out. And then this one, I think we're missing a pad here in this section, because these are actually touching here, and then this needs a pad. So anyway, it's not too bad. And the thermal compound looks like it's not too much either. It's not overflowing. So here's the board. So we're going to do our physical inspection, and then we're going to try to turn it on again on the bench with nothing plugged in. We might be able to get it to power on. We might not. But we will identify what the issue is. There's a secret screw, I tell you. Secret screw is a funny one too, right? I mean, everyone's ran into that secret screw before, right? When you're taking things apart, you're just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? All right, so we're going to start in this corner. We're just going to come around here. So this is going to be our VRAM. No, excuse me, this is going to be the actual DDR4 that's on the motherboard. And here's our CPU. This is our, I think, our Thunderbolt chip. And that's the Thunderbolt BIOS, yeah, chip. This is going to be our VRAM, is all the stuff around the GPU here. We have fuses all over the place, but I'd never see these fuses blown, so I don't know. I don't know what they're there for. It's like, oh, let's see if this works. It does, because all these fuses never blow. This is a poly fuse. It's fine. What about this one? This is for the LCD screen. That one's fine. What about this one? Like, I never check fuses because it's like only if it's in that area I have to deal with it, but fuses rarely blow. Some more compound. Okay, so now we're going to come down here. This is going to be for the VRAM, these 2 power supplies here. These are going to be all the power stages for the GPU. Do you use a calibrated screwdriver? Yes, my calibrated screwdriver right here. Just a cheap screwdriver. I go through them so often, so I just use one with a tungsten hardened tip, and then I use them up pretty quickly. I think this is the power supply for the RAM. These are the power stages for the GPU or CPU. These are going to be the input protection MOSFETs that we need to check, and that's the main power rail. And here's our chipset. This is the BIOS for the machine. We could have a bad BIOS, maybe. I don't know. 3 volt and 5 volt power rails. Chipset power rail, or power supply for the chipset. I always think it's funny when they don't populate some things that look pretty big. Like, that seemed like an important thing to put there. Power capacitor. I don't know what this was for. I don't know what that one's for. I think it's the fan, maybe. This is where we were working last week, right? Somewhere around here, I thought. Okay, did anyone see anything? PVC valve. Yeah, the PVC valve, we need to check that. It's always the PVC valve. You should always replace your PVC valve whenever you're doing everything else, because it's a small part and it goes on top of your engine and it's very easy to access. All right, so there's the LCD connector, a couple more fuses. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. And the connector looks fine. What else we got? What else do we got? I don't see any damage so far. We probably have a short somewhere, but I don't know. That looks kind of funky. It just looks dark, but I think it's just dark. Here I'm going to tilt this a little bit so we can get rid of some glare. The BIOS could be the reason. Yeah, I know at this point we might be, so we just need to figure out if when we press the power button, if the BIOS powers up. If we get power to the BIOS and then all the other power rails are coming on, then it's probably a BIOS. Circle back to our power management chip. This is the backside. That's the chip that runs the 3 volt and 5 volt power rail. That's our EC chip. That's that power button switch that has our 3 volt LDO, 3.3. I don't know what that is. I need to look up what this STM is for. So STM32 is a microcontroller also, but I don't know what it's running. It may have something to do with like the Tron lights or something. That's what I'm kind of thinking. With the Tron lights are LEDs, like the pretty Alienware heads and all that stuff. So I don't see a single thing damaged unless you guys, I missed something and you can ding me. Nothing obvious. You're addicted to my videos? Well, thank you. Thank you. Then it's doing the job. This is all an experiment, doing these videos and live streams and stuff like that. I didn't think anyone would want to watch any of this stuff, but I guess you do. So what I want to do is I'm going to take one of my DC jacks, which I have one in here in this bag. Find it, my bag o' jacks. If I can find the right one. Pick a jack, any jack. Okay. So I have my bag of jacks, and I want to check power rails when we plug it in. LDO, yeah, we checked the LDO on the EC. Well, I checked it right next to it where the power button is, which usually means that the EC chip still has it. But we do have these DC jack is plugged in. I'm going to plug in the power to it, and let's measure some of our stuff over here. So here's where the input comes in to the board. It's going to go through these two MOSFETs here. These right here. That's what I meant. So oops. Is our meter working? Okay, so we should have 20 volts here. This is coming right out of the DC jack. That's what these are. And it should be on the other side of that. We do have 20 volts. 20 volts. Main power rail, 20 volts. All right. So we have 20 volts on our main power rail, which should mean that we're energizing all the rest of our power rails. I'm going to come down to our 3 and 5 volt power rail. That's not running, and that's not running. So 3 and 5 are not up and running, but I'm going to unplug the charger and plug it in temporarily to see if it does power up for a second. And it's not coming up. Do I use an oscilloscope to check BIOS activity? I haven't. Well, maybe I have once, but yeah. I just started Twitch about 10 streams ago. So this is our 11th stream on Twitch, and we are growing, it looks like. Yeah, 465 followers now, and we've been averaging about 50 viewers per stream. So Twitch is a new experiment also, and so I'm glad to see that you've come over to Twitch. So we are getting the main power rail, but we are not getting our 3 and 5 volt power rail, so we could have an issue with that, but let's press the power button and see if they come on whenever we press the power button. And here's our BIOS chip. We also want to see if we have voltage on there, which we shouldn't have voltage on the main, we shouldn't have voltage on the BIOS chip until we hit the power button. So we're going to press the power button. I'm going to flip it over, and then we're going to check to see if we are getting voltage at our BIOS. So power button's pressed. We still are sitting at 0.03, but are we getting BIOS power? We're not getting BIOS power. I think we have a short on the board somewhere, personally. Or we have a bad 3 volt and 5 volt power rail chip. This chip right here could be bad. So let's see if we're getting voltage to that chip. Bad cap on the other side. Yeah, I think we have a bad cap probably. But this, I'm pretty sure this is the 3 volt, 5 volt. I keep saying it is, but I say it like it's so official. Let's see, what do we have here? We don't have any voltage over here. We don't have any voltage over here. What am I saying? Huh. Okay, well, let me go back over on this side again. I'm flipping it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we verified our main power rail is present right here. There it is, coming over here. And then where does it go after that? It goes into a bunch of these dual MOSFETs. So it comes over here, and we're not getting any voltage there. Interesting. So this dual MOSFET's off. Why is this dual MOSFET off? Why? A pair of dual MOSFETs. So both of these are off. PU3. Arnold, where are we talking about? PU3. Is that on the other side of the board? What about this feng shui? Man, why are they putting all these diodes all crooked? I want to measure some resistance around the board. Do you mind me doing that? I think that actually would be a good next step because we may have a short somewhere or something that's low. I'm technically cheating by having both Twitch and YouTube open. Are we talking about having the chat on the screen? They're okay with it, from what I know. Twitch has condoned it now. We're doing multi-streaming as long as I'm not giving less of a experience to Twitch. That's what I've heard. So Twitch gets as much quality and attention as all the rest of the YouTube. All right, so we're in continuity mode. I'm just going to kind of beep around here and just test all these power rails. So this is going to be for the RAM on the board. So 30 ohms is fine. This is going to be for the CPU. 1.25 is a little low, but I think that's okay. Main power rail, we did measure. We did have something there. That was fine. This is going to be on maybe the battery charge circuit. That one's fine. 3 volt and 5 volt. Those are measuring fine. We're not having a short there. What about our chipset? Chipset's at 58 ohms. That should be okay. No short there. We had a short, I think, on this one last time. We don't have anything there. Yeah, because that was that diode we replaced, and it was shorted on the other side of this. This is our GPU. Should be around 0.2 or 0.3. That's fine. This is our VRAM. That should be around 20 or 30 ohms. We're good with that. What is this guy over here? This one's at 42, probably okay. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. Let's see, PJP12 looks really bad. The capacitor beside it, let's see. So where are we at? PJP. We got to figure out where that was, though. Was it the starting of my measuring journey or the end of my measuring journey? Paul. So all of that looked fine on that side. Whenever I start having this thing, I'm like, ugh, well, we're not getting a power supply to turn on. We're not getting, it still looks very EC-ish because we're not getting anything happening whenever we press the power button, besides it kind of going up a little bit in voltage. But let's again measure and make sure we are getting LDO over here. Daryl, welcome. LH2 there looks hot. We can do thermal. We can go thermal and see if anything looks hot. But we don't have enough current being pulled. But you're saying like it looked like there was some heat on it at some point. Just want to see if we're getting our 20 volt here, and if we're getting our voltages we're supposed to. This is only 0.8. That's not right. We should have 5 volts right here. So on our power management chip, this is our 20 volt input. And then this one is our VDD, which should have 5 volts on it. And David, Daryl, thank you. But it doesn't. So it has 0.8. Does that mean we have a short on there? I don't know. Let's measure it. Yeah, so many parts, hard to track them down. Double-sided. This is actually a really densely packed board too. If we look at it, there's so many parts on either side, so it's definitely has a lot of parts because it's all densely packed. So I'm looking at that power management chip, and I did not measure anything that was shorted on that 0.8 pin, but I'm still interested to know why it's low. That's supposed to be ground. There's communication there, that's fine. So I want to check, I'm going to check some of these capacitors. I just want to see if we have a short on both sides of one of these capacitors around here. And we don't, it's fine. So this power management chip is going to be distributing the power or shutting off the power to everything. And we're not getting it all the way to here. Actually, let me plug the battery back in now that we have, or let me get one of my test batteries. So where is it at? Left side bottom of the board. Here, let me do this. Okay. Left side bottom of the board. So Paul wants me to look at this. So I'm going to, should I flip it back over here this way? Okay, Paul, which way from here? PCH resistance was, I think it was 48. I think that's fine, right? I'm happy with that. 57. I mean, I could check the capacitors on the PCH. We got above 50. There's 57. So yeah, PCH looks fine. So where's this 12012 at on here? Which way are we going? This side or this side? The other side, okay? So if I flip it this way, or should I flip it this way? I'll do it this way. All right, the stuffier side. I like it. The stuffier side. Which side of the board? The stuffier side. Okay, top right. So here's the top, and here's the right. It's over here somewhere. All right, so now we can look around here. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Sorry. Yeah, I should point these things out whenever I show these. So that's sticky tape. It's like gummy, and that's why I passed them over. Oh gosh, look at that! You can't even see it. This is like a sticky gummy tape. That's because there's a adhesive that's over this area, and so it always leaves this residue. Yeah, and so when you see me pass things over like that, it's usually because I know that's sticky, but I need to call it out. I definitely need to call it out. I need to get better at that. Like even this right here, this is a sticky gummy substance that's on here too. Looks burnt or something. Yeah, at this point, I have no idea why it's dead. I don't know if it's firmware, a hardware or software type of situation. The EC chip is acting a little bit funny because of but it is responding to key presses. So, um, yeah, formal coding. No, it's more like the sticky from the protection. Why do we have 0.8 here? That's where I want to figure out. We need to figure out where that goes, though. I don't know where it goes exactly. Oh, I think it goes over here. That's right. Shoot. It's been a while. It's been a while. Let's see if we can pull it up. Give me a second. I will pull up our board view. Yeah, it may be the power management chip. That's why I wanted to plug in the battery. That's right. I was going to plug in a battery because we can bypass the power management chip by using a battery. And that will just completely make it where we don't need it. But let me take a look at the board view real quick. All right, so here's our board. So here's our power management chip. And so this is the pin that we got 20 volts on, this first pin right here. And but we're only getting 0.8 here. This is our VDD charge. We should actually have 5 volts coming out of this, and we don't. So we got it coming to that. What is this? Power resistor, and then that's going across there. But where else is it going? It's going all the way to the other side in that same area. It's funny, the same area that you were pointing out. Ha 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 ha. That's funny. So it's coming over to here and it's coming over to here. So let's take a look at this area and see if we have something funky over here. All right, so just so you know what I'm talking about, here's our power management chip. That was the 20 volts there. This pin right here only had 5 volts coming out of it, and that connects to this resistor. Let's make sure this resistor is not blown. So that resistor is fine. Oh wait, it's not even connected to that. It's connected to it. Oh, it showed it connected here, but there's nothing. It's no stuff. So that goes to the other side of the board in this area, right? Somewhere around here. Right? Right? Is that where it's at? Yes. All right, so we're looking at this component and this component and that component. Can I put multi-view on? Does that make it so you can see at the same time? I can't tell. Microscope. No, it doesn't have a microscope on there, so that's useless. I could probably add a microscope view in there. Okay, so we want this one. CB. Okay, so it's this capacitor, this resistor, and this resistor. So those are the 3 that it's going to. So let's make sure that none of these are blown. So that's not blown. We're getting nothing there, but I don't know what the value is supposed to be. And that's not shorted. We don't want the capacitor to be shorted. Let's figure out what this resistor is supposed to be, what value. And it should be 100K. So when I'm in continuity mode, so it's not going to measure anything there. So that's fine. So now I'm going to plug in the charger, and I want to see what it's doing. My OBS is messing up here. I'm going to plug in the charger, and I want to see what it's doing on those pins anyway. Again, we're supposed to be getting 5 volts there, and I'm not seeing 5 volts. So we should have 5 volts here, and we got 0.8. Why do we have 0.8? I'm ready to inject some voltage there, but let's get the thermal camera going. Because it'd be interesting if it's a voltage divider for the AC detect. That's going to be on a different line. That's on pin But yeah, I can check to see if that one's going too. That's going to be, I believe that's over here. AC detect, I believe, is this pin? AC okay? Yeah. So it goes here. And that divider is, where is that divider at? Can't remember where they put it on this one. I thought that was the one. I thought that was the one. Yeah, maybe here. VDD charge. Yeah, it's all tied to VDD charge and that. So I think it's this area, maybe. But again, like I said, I don't know what's causing that VDD not to be there. I'm going to hook up the thermal camera. I just want to see if we can get some sort of clarity on why something isn't showing up there. I'm pretty sure that is our issue, but we also should be able to get it to power on with a charged battery if we have this issue too. So does it boot on battery attached? So that's what I was saying. So I need to grab a battery and get that going. Let me get all my thermal camera stuff going though. Okay, let me grab a charged battery because his battery's probably not charged. Let me get that real quick. All right, so I'm going to unplug this. All right, I'm going to pull their battery out. I'm just going to pull the battery cable off because I don't have the cable on this battery, my test battery, so we'll just have to transfer it over. Sometimes charger or power management chips are linked. Yeah. So I don't know. It could be a bad power management chip just not producing the VDD. But sometimes what I like to do is when you put a battery on there, then that VDD will all of a sudden show up, and then the machine will still turn on. Injecting voltage using a variable power supply. Yeah, so that's what we were about to do, is inject voltage on that line if we need to. Ricardo, you're spamming a lot, bro. Or somebody's spamming. Yeah, you can get your point across by just kind of telling people and they'll get my attention. If it's hard for me to see when I'm multitasking like this, so putting it in the chat and then kind of suggesting good ideas is fine, but don't just sit there and start pasting stuff in over and over again. We haven't found a short yet on the board, so that's why we're going to keep looking. But right now, because we have that low voltage, we should have 5 volts, but we're getting 0.8, so that is kind of a short, in my opinion. But it could just be that the chip's not producing the right voltage either. Could be a bad input MOSFET. We are getting 20 volts to the main power rail. So you're talking about on a different, I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. This isn't a normal M15R4 issue. So that's makes it a little more interesting, I guess. Is the board view software? Yeah, it's the Paul Daniels board view software. So that's, if you're wondering what that is, yeah, that's the official version, paid for version. I bought it with my own money. All right, so we're gonna plug in the battery. So my battery should have a charge on it. And if we see that the battery voltage is 0, then we know that we have some sort of short on the board because it's gonna be shutting off that battery. I know this battery has a charge. This is the battery we used the other night. So, oh, 0.2. Weird. 0.2. Plug in the charger. Yeah, we have to have a short somewhere. We have to have a short somewhere. So right as I plug in the battery, you can see it kind of pop up for a second and go back down. So we're at 0.2 3.29, plug it in, jumps to 1.6 and then drops right back down. So it's trying to come on for a second. Did you see this little spike here? You see it pulsing? Oh, no, you don't. You don't have the thermal camera up. Thermal camera is telling me something going on here. So something's trying to come on, or something's trying to happen. I'm going to unplug the battery again. Plug it back in. So that is this diode right here, or is it the LDO? I'm going to switch to this view so you can see both at the same time. See if I can get to it. This one. There we go. So that way you can see the thermal camera at the same time. No chat though. So the area we're looking at, I'm going to unplug the battery one more time, plug it back in. It's almost like it's this. This is a diode right here. This is the LDO. LDO is usually warm all the time. Let's check if we have a shorted diode right there. There's a few hot spots warm momentarily, yeah. And this whole area did get kind of warm, you can tell, but some of this is reflections. But let's see what this diode is measuring at. So I'm in, let's see, diode mode now. And you can't see the measurements, can you? Oh, yeah, you can. So that's correct. Flip it around. And that's looking fine to me. I'm going to measure it from ground. Let's see what we got. I believe, I mean, that's probably fine, right? That's probably supposed to be ground right there. Is the diode cracked? Nah, I don't think so. Let me make sure that that's supposed to be connected to ground or connected to something that should be beeping to ground. So what we're looking at is this diode right here. So that is ground on that side, and then that's our 20 volt. And we're getting some sort of pulse of heat. Maybe it's the VN, maybe it's this one, this power resistor is getting hot. But we're getting a pulse of heat in this area, right? A couple components, whenever it tries to turn on or start charging. I don't know if it's just turn on or a start charging situation. This is coming from the DC jack itself, goes through here. We're getting voltage all the way through these, all the way over here, and we get it to this coil. But after this coil, we're not getting these to turn on. So maybe these are bad, or one of these are bad. These are dual MOSFETs, and then that's supposed to energize this area. But that is the charging. So maybe those are supposed to turn on after we have a battery plugged up. Is it a Zener diode? Ooh, I don't know. Is it? Is it old Zeni? I don't know if it's a Zener. It's a... I don't know if it's telling me. So, is that Zener when it has it like that? I think that is, right? Or is that a Schottky? I'm not good with all that stuff. I'm just logical. Try some alcohol on it. See if, yeah, let's put some alcohol through this area. I'm just gonna spray a bunch of alcohol, spray and pray the alcohol down on here. Here we go. Covered in alcohol. Okay, we're gonna plug it back in. Oh, it didn't like that. It turned off my charger. I put too much alcohol on it, I guess. I've never had alcohol shut off my board before. That's funny. All right. We'll be a little more isolated with it. That's hilarious. Well, we know the protection circuit's working. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay, charger back up and running. Without any alcohol on here, I want to make sure that it is not shorting out anymore. It is shorting out. Now the short is enabled somehow. Now we found our issue. Before we weren't getting told what our issue was. Kind of like that actually. Makes it a little bit easier. Let's figure out what's actually shorted now. You know, sometimes something is failing, but you don't know why it's failing. I think our last video was like that too, right? It wasn't failing until it failed. So sometimes you have to kind of play around with stuff to figure out what actually is failing. All right. So no short there. No short here. No short there. 3 volt and 5 volt. So we have 1 ohm over here. I was kind of thinking it was over here in the first place. Or did I short the diode, do you think? No, I think it's over here. No, it's not there. I think that's ground. No, this is, so it's this. Whatever this power rail is. Going to. And then let's come over here. So that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. All right, so it's over here. All right, so let's, thermal shock. Well, it wasn't hot though. So it couldn't have been thermal shock. I mean, I've done this plenty of times. You just kind of cover it in alcohol. It doesn't even care when I do it. So it's not like that rarely, I don't think that is the cause, but I mean, it kind of, whatever it was, helped me out in the long run, actually. So I'm going to turn down the voltage here. So we do have a short on this one power rail. Actually, we can look and see what it goes to. I'm not really sure what it goes to, but we are looking at, let's see, let me rotate this. And it is right here. So it is a 19 volt to the 3 point. So it's what powers the 3.3 is shorted. So whether we have a short on our 3.3 or a short on a 19 volt side, I don't know. It does go to all these different areas, but the 19 volt rail would be shorted if we have a short on the main power rail and it's turning off the AC adapter. So it's probably on the 19 volt side. So it could be the shock key like you're saying. So we will test that in a second. We're going to go with voltage injection, and I'm just going to do it right here, and then we can move around with it because we have so many points to do it at. The short is, how many ohms is the short? 1.2 ohms. So how many volts you want to go down to? 0.6, somewhere around there. That gives us 1 amp. Don't see anything on this side, so I think you might be right over there at the shock key area. We'll go back over to the shock key diode. Do y'all want that double view? Do you like that better? So you can see them both at the same time? So this area, see, that's not shorted. So we don't have a short here. Don't have a short there. But we have a short here. So let's do it there. And I can probably up the voltage a little bit because it's not really pulling that much current. There we go. Now we're at 2 amps. That's better. Mucho bettero. I don't see anything. 91% is why it's shorted. Yeah, I mean, it could have some impurities. Is that what you're saying? I've never had to do it before, though, so it's kind of a strange one to me, but you might be right. Oh, the CPU. Well, that's even stranger. So we have a MOSFET on the CPU? What? What? So we got 1.2 ohms here. Interesting. All right. It's saying it's one of these MOSFETs right here. We were on the other side of the board, so I don't, when we did this. So I'm going to turn this back down. We're about to figure out which MOSFET it is in momentarily here. Going down the rabbit hole. I'm going to hold that there, and we'll inject right there. It is number, this one. Number this one. All right, we'll verify one more time. That one, yep. So that's the bad MOSFET. So this MOSFET's shorted straight through to the CPU. Why? Why? I don't know. And that's probably what's been causing the whole thing to not turn on the start. So let's pull that guy off, see if it resolves a short. We'll put a brand new one on, and then hopefully that fixes it up. It's the cap? You think it is? No, I mean, the thing about my thermal camera is that it has two lenses, two cameras. So one's the actual picture of the board and one's the heat signature. And so sometimes they don't line up perfectly. So I think it's the cap itself. We can put some of this alcohol on here just to prove it. And as long as we protect the CPU by bypassing it, then we should be good. That did get hot right there. Yeah, it's the MOSFET itself. So let me pull this guy off, and then we can test. Yeah, it was low side to ground. At first, I don't know. Well, we didn't measure the main power rail. It wasn't shorted at first, but it became shorted. I'm going to try out my new iFixit tweezers I got from Mr. Daryl Flores in the chat. Thank you for those. All right, let's see if we can get this pulled off. Sometimes you have tricky repairs whenever you cannot figure out what's causing something to happen. You're not seeing any short, but whenever it tries to turn on the board, it doesn't work, and it's because something is kind of triggering itself shorted and it's protecting itself. Try reflowing it? I don't know about that. I'd rather just replace it. Is there a cap missing? There is a cap missing right there. That's funny. Yeah, look at that. All the rest of these have a cap. I mean, this one has a cap missing too. So, it's by design. It's by design. Okay, I have the board heated up enough. I'm going to go ahead and add my flux now. And it is off. Yeah, we're just going to replace it. But we can measure now and see if the short is gone. So this is the main power rail here, and there's no short. so we are good with that. And what are we measuring on the CPU? Just waiting for it to cool off here. Come on. Wait, do we have another? All these MOSFETs are so hot, they probably are shorting to the low side right now. I gotta wait for those to cool off. But let me grab a donor board. What chip do we need? What chip do we need? 30, 20, 45s? Is that what it is? The 30, 20, 45. So let me see if I can grab one of those. I don't have any new, I don't think. I may, but I doubt it. $30, $21, $55s. Yeah, I don't have one. All right, so I'm going to just grab a donor board. Am I saying it wrong? 30, 20, 45. So it's just a 2045, is that what you're saying? All right, here's the donor board. This is the one we were stealing from the other night, actually. Those are the same chip. Looks like it. Okay. Good to go. Good. Right? Is that what it says? Yep. Okay. All right. Can y'all see it? Does everyone concur? That's the right one. All right. Okay, let me pull that off. I want to check this. Now this is cooled off a little bit. I want to make sure that the CPU's not ruined. It's a little low. It's a little low. Let's go ahead and replace it anyway. I want to make sure that we are on the right track. Yeah, I want it to cool down before I start measuring stuff anyway, but I'm going to pull this chip off, we'll move it over, and then we can test. Let me measure this one too, make sure we don't have a weird short on this one. 1.0, that's fine. And none of these are shorted. Okay. All caps are present on donor board. No, we're missing one here. We're missing one there. Same setup. So it's like every third one, or I guess there's 4 total. CPU might be toast. Yeah, it may be. We measured it earlier at 1.64, but that's what we were measuring with it even shorted on the main power rail. So yeah, I don't know exactly. It may have been, and this one's measuring around that same measurement, so I don't know. We can inject some voltage back in the board again and check on the thermal camera, but there's no short on the main power rail, so it's not passing through there. I'm just going to go ahead and put one of these guys on here just because I want to just do it, and then it will either work or it won't. Yeah, someone else definitely worked on it ahead of time. Remember, we had missing parts and the things wasn't screwed together. I don't know if the alcohol would have done anything. I don't think so, because I've never seen it do anything. I'm thinking that we may have just had a coincidence, but who knows. Soren was here. Would Soren stop by? Soren needs to stop by in a stream here. I'm doing it in his time zone, so he can actually come and visit. And tell me all about my easy pizzas. Soren hasn't been getting beautiful Dells lately. Just beautiful. All right. All right, let's heat this back up again and get this installed. So again, I'm not like adding new flux or not adding new solder, because there's solder on both sides. I find that whenever we end up pulling off and changing the solder on both sides, we have to do it on the chip and the board in order to get it to marry properly. And then we have too much underneath it starts popping out the sides. It ends up being a lot more work. I do agree with Soren when it comes to not replacing all of it. Yeah, you have to heat the board a little bit more, but it works just fine. Was he giving away an NLBA? Don't blow away, please. Stay. Just want to tack it in place. There we go. And put some flux on there. He did today. Interesting. I haven't watched today's live stream. All right. Good. I'm feeling like the CPU's toast too. I know. I'm feeling it. I'm kind of irritated by it, but I don't like plugging in the charger and having it short and not knowing what the short was and thinking that it wasn't the CPU. Because I definitely wanted to plug it in twice, I can tell you that. So, first time, it shorts out the AC adapter. You're like, okay, it's shorted. But if I would have known that it was the CPU that shorted, then I would have said, hey, we don't want to do that twice. So it is what it is. It probably was already shorted in the first place, but I don't know. You never know. Because, we're sitting here trying to chase down issues, and everything's pointing to the board being completely dead, and we don't know why. But it could be the CPU that was dead the whole time, and then the MOSFET was basically protecting it. Okay, so maybe I'll do this under a thermal camera, actually. Let's see. See what it does. Let's check for shorts. Board's still a little hot. So continuity mode, yes, go. 3 volt, 5 volt, main power rail. This power rail's fine. Chipset. Chipset's at 14. Didn't we have it at 50 before? I don't know if it's because it's still hot. That's going up still. Let me cool down the board more. It's like it always kind of gives you false readings, so I'm just going to put it right here on our rapid board cooler. I only got 20 minutes left in the stream. I actually have a hard cutoff today. I only have a 2-hour stream I can do. I got my daughter. We're going to go do some stuff. And so it'd be cool to pull a CPU off live when I've never done it before. That may be something to try to do at some point. Yeah, we have a lot of people watching tonight. 900 or today, and we got 78 on Twitch. I haven't broken 100 on Twitch yet. At some point I will. And I need to get that Twitch counter working again. All right, the board's cooled off again. Let's go back around and measure. I can't believe we have picture. All right, now we're up to 46 on the chipset. So, whew, feel much better about that. That's measuring nothing. That's measuring nothing. Our RAM was 25. That's fine. Our VRAM, and then our RAM was 25. So that all looks good. CPU is measuring now. Look at that. We're at almost one. We're almost at 1 ohm for the CPU now, which is basically what we wanted. Is the CPU toast? Hey, it's not. It didn't create a poll on YouTube again. Interesting. We're having some issues. I'm going to create the one on YouTube real quick. Is the CPU toast? All right. So we have polls up. Twitch, pay attention. You got 79 viewers. I want you to go up and vote. We have only 14 people who voted. You're not allowed to be a bot in my stream, by the way. No bots. You could lurk, but just press the poll button and just do that. 15 voters. There you go. Good. Yeah, just you got to find it. It's kind of secret at the top. We have. Okay. We have a lot of people thinking it's not toast, which is good. And I'll give you the measurement one more time of what the CPU is measuring. So we were measuring originally like 1.2, I think, on the CPU. And now we're measuring 1.04. I'm actually feeling a little more optimistic about that. And then here's our donor board measurement for the CPU. And we're measuring 0.7. Usually CPUs are around 1.5 to 4 ohms, depending upon how powerful it is. This is only an i7 though, so it's not like an i9 or something. We got pretty good vote count so far on Twitch. We're up to 34 votes out of the 76 people watching. So I'm happy with that. And it looks like we have a pretty good consensus. Are these laptop motherboards? Yes, they are. So these are going to be Alienware M15R4 gaming laptop motherboards. So consensus, yeah, it looks like 66% say no on Twitch and on YouTube. So that's pretty good. So here's the Twitch poll is showing 66%. And the YouTube poll is 66% also. So we're good. All right, so I'm going to go for it. So what we're going to be looking for is we want to see that this thing is going to start powering up. I'm going to do a thermal camera. We want to see a normal power up process. And whew, I'm actually at the edge of my seat on this one. All right, drum roll. Let's see. Okay, plugging in the power now. Okay, charger did not short out. We did not pull 0.01 though, or 0.02. That's not good. Okay. So the poll on Twitch says no, and the poll on on YouTube says no. So we are good with that. So now I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to hit the power button, which is over here. And it's doing the same thing. Okay. It was at 0.02, and then it jumped up to 0.03. So what came on? Is the chipset on? Let's see if the chipset's on. Chipset's on. So we have voltage there now. So the 3 volt and 5 volt power rail's on. We have our 5 volt and our 3 volt. Here, I'm going to switch to this view for you. 5 volt, 3 volt. Okay, that's good. 1 volt there. That's good. Let's see if the BIOS has power. BIOS chip is over here. And the BIOS chip's on. Woohoo! So I think that we actually might have something good going on here, because if we have it now, it almost looks like a bad BIOS at this point now, which is strange. Progress. Rip the EC chip and rewrite it. Maybe we should should we do the BIOS first or the EC chip first? I think we're at firmware at this point, so what do y'all want me to do? Yeah, the thermal on the CPU, there's no heat, right? We're at 0.02. I have to flip over the board to hit the power button is the problem. Press the power button, and it turns on all the power supplies, which is what we want. Or now it's not, because now we have 0. We have something, we have like a chipset issue or something. I mean, hold on. Okay. So now the board's doing exactly the same thing it did a second ago when we first got it. So now those power rails aren't up. But it's when I'm sitting here flipping it back and forth. I've seen this happen when we have like a cracked solder joint under the chipset or something. So let me try torquing the board and see if it comes on better. All right, so I'm going to plug in the power. Our 5 volt did not come on this time. Plugging it in. Our 1 volt's not on. So now let me try like kind of bending the board a little bit. And then we'll try it again. Because the act of me flipping it over, I feel like messed it up. Reflow. I mean, we could reflow the chipset. Let me press down on the chipset. Nope. I can reflow the chipset. Yeah, it's doing exactly the same thing. Oh, this thing fell out. Maybe it's because I flipped it over. Because I'm an idiot. You idiot, Stimpy! Yeah, that was it. Okay, never mind. The DC jack fell out in the back. Reflow the chipset! Go to it! Go! We're plugging the DC jack. Okay, I'm going to try turning it on again. Sorry. Now that the DC jack's plugged in. Fucking idiot. Oh. Press the power button. 0.03. Yeah, I'm going to rewrite the BIOS chip now. We'll do that first because we do have BIOS voltage. I can't believe... Okay, real quick, we're going to... We're going to flash the BIOS. I do have a BIOS already made, so we don't have to worry about that. Let me get all this pulled up for us. We're going to load in... Actually, we're going to rip his. How much time do I got? I got 13 minutes to get this done. 13 minutes. All right, so here's my chip reader. This is the T48, or the T5200, 5600, T4800, I think, or 48. I have a link to the a link inside the video description for this. And so here's our BIOS chip that we're going to be ripping. I'm going to rip it, just make a backup, and then I'll write a new one on because I already have one of these made. Pin 1's there. Pin 1 I just have marked here. This is a little pogo pin reader. And so when it presses down, it just presses on the pins. We're going to remember the chip number. It's a 25R127D. 25R127D. Okay, so now we're going to pull this up. I'm going to detect it. 25R17D, and it's an SOP8. We're going to read that. I got to hold it down better. Hold my breath. So I don't have to pull the chip off. I just do this way. And these chips are small. They're only 16 megs. Well, that was a loud beep. Okay, we're going to verify that. So always verify your backups. All right, so now we're going to save it. And so I have a whole backup folder that I save every single BIOS. And I just name it after my repair ticket number. And then I name it the machine, M15R4. And that way I can always come back and pull one of these if I need one that to rewrite or whatever. So I have a backup of all these. And I just name it original. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to load one in, and one is going to go. And so since I have all these, then I can just go I think the one that I have is an M17R4. It's the same board though. And I'm going to find one that's working. There we go. Works. Clean. So we're going to load that one in there. M17R4 and M15R4 are the same motherboard, just 17-inch versus 15-inch. And now we're just going to write this in here. So I'm going to verify that I'm connected again. I'm not. I got to press down harder. Come on, let's try again. I can't see the chat right now, by the way. Okay, so it's connected. Program. I always write usually at 30 megahertz. Now it's going to error out. Just now I can tell because the erase didn't last that long. So I could go down to 15 if I need to, 15 megahertz, but what's the question mark? Did I not choose the right model? Yeah, it was a 25R127D. Did I not do that right? You always read 2 times? I do this a lot, so I'm doing about, I don't know, 7 to 10 BIOSes a week. So my routine is you read it, you verify it, back it up, do it at 30 megahertz on everything. Unless I'm having issues, I'll go down to 15. And my hand starts hurting by holding it in place, so this is already hurting pretty bad because I can't move and I had to apply a lot of pressure on it. But because these chips aren't very big, it makes it pretty quick. Real quick. Everything's real quick. All right, so we have a new BIOS on there. We know this BIOS works because I've used it plenty of times on machines, so no big deal. Camera, okay. So we know that this should work just fine. So I'm going to plug it in. It shouldn't come on by itself because of the way that this thing is set up. Now when we press the power button, we should have it start pulling some current. And because it's going to be booting the BIOS. And still goes to 0.03. Yeah, we're up to 1,000 people viewing at the same time, which is awesome. This is kind of interesting though. We're still getting the exact same symptom. And originally, from the get-go, we were getting the same 0.03 symptom, right? 0.04. The power rails are, yeah, it's EC time, I guess. And these things are notorious for having bad ECs, so yeah, I guess we got to just do it. Got to suffer through it. You guys have seen this so many times, but I'm sure it never gets old, right? It never gets old. Okay. Raise your hand if you've never seen an EC chip being rewritten manually. I got to move all this stuff out of my way, though. Got to make some room, and I only have a couple minutes left here. 8 minutes. Can I write an EC chip in 8 minutes? Of course I can. All right, so this time we're doing an EC chip, or we're building a BOMB, is what it looks like. It looks a little crazy. These are my cheat sheets. Tell me where I hook the pads up to. All this stuff I have linked inside the video description, by the way. So these are my PC bites. They have a little spring, they're weighted. So they kind of set where you want them. They're needle point, and you can hook wires to them, so that way we don't have to solder anything to the board. This motherboard does not have a programming header, does not have a debug port, and it does not have the keyboard programming method that you can do. So I have to do it manually around the EC chip on all the pads around it. So I'm just going to hold it in place here. The CPU, I don't know if the CPU is bad because we're measuring the CPU on the other board and it has similar ohms, so I don't know. But if this doesn't work, then yeah, the CPU could be bad in the first place the whole time, and that's what, because it's doing the exact same symptom as it was. And the thing about me is that I'm not going to give up very easily because I want it to work, and I don't like to just be like, bench fee, go. I want to solve the issue. I want to save another laptop. Okay, so my cheat sheet here is chaotic, but here's the EC chip right there. This is my EC chip. Actually, it goes this orientation. And I have just a couple markings. There's a couple pads I'm going to be hooking it to. And I have kind of note. I just have it where it's B, P, Y, and G for the color of the cables. And so I'm just going to be looking at that while we hook it up. And let's see if we do it. Let's see. What view do we use for this usually? This one? I can't remember what view. I want you to be able to get the best view out of this. I'm going to have to go through the microscope. Right there. And then I think I give you this view. Something like that. Is that pretty good? Now, hopefully none of this stuff gets in my way. Okay, so the first one we're going to hooking up is going to be the blue line. Yes, if we want to explain it, so EC stands for embedded controller. It's like a microcontroller that has a bunch of GPIOs, so general input and output pins that connect to different devices on the motherboard, i.e. the power button, the keyboard, the touchpad. It also handles fan spin, things like that. And without that, the motherboard cannot turn on. So the pin we're going to be hooking onto here is going to be this guy right there. This pad. And the next one's going to be yellow and purple, I believe. Yep, yellow and purple. Actually, I'm going to do this upper one first, which is going to be my green one. Probe the spiders. Spider. Yeah, it always looks a little weird what I'm building, almost, is what it looks like. And I know I'm going to knock these things off, so I'll try to fix them later. This one's going to go up here. And sometimes I like to just hit these with a soldering iron first to kind of take the kind of bulge off of them, but I did not just now, so I'm sure I'm going to regret that. So purple is going to go right here. Get out of my way. Purple, somewhere around there. It's going to fall over, I know it. Okay, let me get this last one hooked up and then we'll fix all that. Flashing the EC chip, yes I am. So this is kind of a last resort what we're doing, because we had an issue with the board not powering on, kind of giving us a weird startup issue. Then we ended up having a short on the board. We found a shorted MOSFET on the CPU. We fixed that. Then all the power rails were coming up, and it almost looked like it could be a BIOS issue, but we flashed a new BIOS that didn't fix it, so now we're flashing the EC chip just to see if we can use that to resolve the issue. And of course I'm having issues. Okay, knocking everything over. Okay, I think I get everything lined up where I want it, so we're purple and yellow. So yellow's this one. Get in there. Purple's this one. I forgot the DC jack is unplugged. Darn it, I need that plugged in. I'm going to do that now before I knock anything off. Okay. And the last one, or I guess I got to redo them all over again. This is way easier than soldering, by the way. If you're wondering why I'm not soldering these things on, it's because this is easier. Because these are tiny little pads here. I hate whenever I can't see what I'm doing though. There we go. I should have soldered them first, by the way, just to kind of clear the pads off and make them easier to hook to. I think one of my first streams I did one of these. Okay, last one. See, now I can't even see that last pin up here because this darn purple's in my way. Okay, they all look kind of in the right spot. Kind of. We will see. I got my ground hooked up. What else? What can y'all see? Y'all can see everything pretty good? I don't know. Let me pull up the software. All right, we're connected to it. Now I got to select the right motherboard. So I'm just going to select the right chip is what I'm going to do because this is a 9542GF and we're going to be soldering it to it, even though we're just going to use those pogo pins. And we're going to test connection, but it's not connecting because I don't have it board powered on. So I'm going to power the board on now. And look, I connected on the first try. Yay! All right, so we're connected to the chip. We're going to read it as a backup. I think that's a first. On live stream, actually getting a backup or a connection to the chip on first try. It's just because I know I don't have much time. Original. So we're just backing up the original EC. So we're ripping the firmware off that EC chip, and then we're going to write brand new firmware that's clean. We'll see if that fixes it. And if it doesn't, then I don't really know. We probably have some sort of issue with the I don't know, CPU is probably bad or something like y'all were saying. M15R4. So I'm using this is ripped firmware from Dell. And so basically what I do is I download a BIOS from Dell, and then I have an extractor that will extract it. And so here's the EC region. Can y'all not see any of this? I don't know if you can, but anyway. So I'm selecting that. So I got that writing on there. Yeah, I saved the original already, so now I'm writing the new one. So we're writing it on there. We will see if it works. Let's go. Come on. Is it going to work? I don't know. Okay. All right, so we wrote that on there. So now we can actually unhook everything. So let me unplug the board, unplug the reader, move the camera, move my probes. So this is either going to work or it's not. It's either going to resolve the issue or it's going to be doing exactly the same thing. Now, if it's doing exactly the same thing, what does that mean? At this point, I really don't know. There's something, it's either going to be the CPU or there's something on the board that's still shorted or something that we can't identify at this particular moment. And I'll have to keep investigating at another time because I have to get off. We're right past our 2 hours. Let me get all this stuff out of the way. And then we'll have a drum roll. Yeah, Sundays is my new live stream day that we added. All right, so we do it under the thermal camera just so we can really see it light up on Fuego. So here's the board. I'm going to plug it in, and let's see what the power meter says whenever we plug it in, see if it does anything different. Should do our regular turn on. 0.01. Okay, 0.02, that's what we want. So that means the EC chip is on. And then let me press the power button. 3, 2, oh wait, 3, 2, 1. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. What kind of cigars do I want? Olivia V's are good. I do like Olivia V's. That's really nice of you, Montgomery. So it looks like chipset's on, right? Because we know the chipset power came on. So chipset heating up. But other than that, there's nothing going on. So I don't know, guys. That's I'll have to think about this one. So this one's still kind of doing the same symptom, even though we went and we had to replace that MOSFET on the yeah, it could be a dead CPU. We changed the MOSFET on the CPU. We rewrote the BIOS, wrote the EC chip, but you know, it's probably a dead CPU, again, like we were saying, because it is kind of a lower resistance, but let me measure it again. So we're on voltage, ohms. Okay, so CPU is measuring at, oh, I don't have it measuring up here. Measuring at 1.25, which isn't super low. Let me grab another board just real quick, and then I know I have to cut out, but that donor board, let me grab a board that might kind of work. This one's another donor board, hold on. Let me find one that doesn't have any missing parts. Okay, here you go. This motherboard works. Okay, so this motherboard turns on, but the LCD turns off after a little while. So what is this CPU measuring at? .94. It's a little higher. It's a little bit higher. And this was at 1.25, right? 1.25. That's a wolf. Thanks for the sub. Now, what CPU is this? Just to compare, just to make sure, you know, because the thing is that the ohms have to do with like how powerful the CPU is. So we have an SR, this is an SRK3Y. And then this one is an SRK3Y. So same chips. So there you go. Who knows? Who knows, right? So this board and this board have different CPU measurements, so you might be right. You might be right. So anyway, but I'm going to have to call it for this week. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thanks to my mods out there. Thanks for all the donations. Any donations to the stream are going to be going to this motherboard repair, helping them out. Twitch viewers and YouTube viewers, I do this twice a week, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time and Sunday 9 a.m. Central Time. We kind of figure out what's going on with these boards randomly. You guys vote for which laptop I'm going to work on. Every single week I put up 3 different laptops to work on. I don't look at them ahead of time. But I appreciate all your support, and thanks for watching.